Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Driven Wyld. Today we are talking about putting people at risk. Guy slams Uber Eats after a man delivers his food instead of a woman. And it sparked a huge debate. So a lot of people have been talking about how account rentals and things of that nature have become a big thing on a lot of these platforms. And it has really gotten out of hand and a lot of people hate it, including us drivers. And in this case, it seems to have gone viral on multiple social medias on the subject. So with that said, we are talking about everything that is being said in this article, how it actually is on Doordash, UberEats, and Grubhub for the drivers, customers, and everything in between. So with that said, let's get started. An UberEats customer took to social media after realizing who delivered his food didn't match the details in the app, sparking a heated debate about safety. Expecting a female driver, he was met by a middle-aged man raising concerns about Uber's vetting process and whether delivery substitutions put customers at risk. I feel like delivery substitutions isn't really a great term for it, but I see why people are mad about it. I did a little research on this, and I'm going to go over it later in the video. But yeah, if you are expecting one person to show up and another person shows up, then therefore it's not really your account. It's somebody else's account stating, "Hi Uber, can you please explain to me why my food was supposed to be delivered by a woman? Was delivered by a middle-aged man? Thanks, looking forward to your reply." Okay, let's have a look here. So the account belongs to a Miss Sadia in a Honda PCX and was delivered by a man whose name has not been determined. That said, it's very well possible that those two are actually dating and she's driving and he's delivering it and vice versa, and they just do the Uber together. Also not recommended, also something that I would say you might want to just have both of your own accounts, but hey, do you. After failing to receive a prompt response, the man updated his followers. Update: yet to have a formal response from Uber. Have emailed my MP. This statement revealed his frustration with Uber's lack of transparency and communication. His decision to escalate the issue to his local member of parliament reflects his growing concern for public safety. Hi, I am a constituent of yours, and a particular issue I'd like to raise to your attention is the recent uptick of illegal working in the food delivery sector. Attached are two separate examples from the past 6 months of deliveries that I've had that were supposed to be delivered by person A, but instead were delivered by person B. A recent study showed that as many as 4 in 10 Uber Eats drivers in London are working illegally. Given that food delivery drivers are often in interaction with young women and in occasion children, this uptick is of extreme concern. Okay, first off, I don't know how things work in London, but I'm sure your member of parliament has different issues to think about than how gig workers are doing right now. Second, the fact that you're bringing up young women and children, I feel like it just sounds a little contrived, right? Like, I get the concern. I know that this is an issue that has been a big thing in the gig economy for a while now, but this is nuts. This is ridiculous. Like, I feel like you're only bringing that up to make it a louder issue, which I understand, but it's having the opposite effect. Like, it's an eye roll to me. The delivery incident escalated further when he shared what he called a pathetic response from Uber's support team. He tweeted, "Update, just got this absolutely pathetic reply from Uber support. They seem not bothered that random unchecked males are coming into close contact with females and young children. Have emailed my local MP at MT Penny Cook. I will not let this rest." I can't tell if this is sexist or predatory or both. Like, again, It feels like you're bitching about one crime so you could commit another. Why is it that big of a deal that it's a woman? It should be a big deal that anybody is using another person's account in general, even though independent contractors should have the ability to outsource some things. But if you're going to do that, it's your own business, right? It's not you as an UberEats driver. It's you as an Uber fleet, if you will. But that's beside the point. Anyway, the reply is actually interesting. Thanks for letting us know that the delivery person did not match the profile shown in your app. We understand this may have been unsettling. Delivery people are independent contractors and can have someone else complete a delivery if eligible. The original delivery person remains responsible for the delivery. Visit this page to learn more about substitution. Thanks for your feedback. This is actually very interesting that this came up this way. Because if you type into Google, can you rent out your UberEats driver account? It says, no, you cannot rent out your UberEats driver account. Uber does not allow account sharing except for couriers who have designated a substitute. And if you type in, does Uber allow people to substitute drivers on their account? Yes, UberEats drivers can use a substitute to deliver on their behalf. The substitute must meet certain safety conditions and the driver must register them within 48 hours. So as long as they're registered, they're fine. Do I think that they're going through the traditional registration? Probably not. But that also said, yeah, I guess there is a level of legality to it. Again, I don't recommend it unless you 100% trust that person, and even still, like, what is the real benefit? In the tweet, he questioned Uber's commitment to ensuring customer safety, especially when it comes to verifying who is delivering food. His comments mirror broader concerns about the risks involved when delivery drivers are allowed to substitute one another without sufficient oversight. It sounds to me like you're more upset that we have more freedoms to do things than you do. Like, at the end of the day, we're in business for ourselves. If I'm running a delivery business and I have other drivers under me, right? Are you going to be upset that there's another person that happens to work under me that's showing up to your door? Is that really what you're telling me? And not to mention, a lot of the times, these are contactless deliveries. So what? According to Matt, during the conversation, Uber admitted that they have no clear system to track or verify who is delivering food once a substitute driver steps in. I mean, there is the verification system, but okay. The admission exposes a loophole in Uber's delivery policies that has raised concerns about accountability and safety. The potential for drivers to assign substitute deliverers without oversight could have dangerous consequences, particularly when it comes to ensuring that individuals are properly vetted. Okay, first off, that is valid problems within this, and I absolutely get it. Why does this feel like a louder problem than it always has been, though? Like, sure, yeah, everyone hates the fact that there's a lot of substitute drivers and account renting, and all of us are annoyed by that, including things like delivery teams in some markets, but that's not the point. The point is, I feel like this is just a lot louder now than it's ever been. And maybe I'm reading into this more, but once they pointed out that this guy was in London, it had me thinking, why is it that I feel like only the people in London have a problem with us being in business for ourselves? Like, other people in America have a problem with it because apparently they don't like us having freedom, which is stupid, but nevertheless, why? It doesn't make sense. Matt's post drew a ton of hate from users calling him wasteful, overreactive, an incel, and even evil. Hundreds of comments ragged on his post and insinuated he was racist. But plenty of women defended his position, arguing this sort of last-minute driver swap is a safety concern and needs to be addressed. Okay, there's a lot to unpack with that. I know I just said that the whole London guy thing is, it always feels like they're the ones reacting weirdly to tipping culture and the way that things operate here. But wasteful, overreactive, incel, and even evil, and racist are all wild comments to put on somebody for raising a concern. Wasteful, maybe it's a little bit much, bringing in commentary that makes no sense. Overreactive, possibly. To be honest, I feel like bringing in the women and children part for what is mostly contactless delivery is a bit much. Incel, now you're making it about something it's not. Evil, I don't think it's evil to point out something. If you think somebody else is evil for pointing out a system flaw, that's an accountability issue. And racist, that's just bringing on something that has no business being involved here. So I am glad that the women are defending his position. I've lost count of the number of times Uber has done this in the last year, wrote ex-user Veho. And as a woman, it's effing terrifying, especially when they come to your door like WTF. It takes 2 seconds to verify the person who is actually delivering. You know, I'm glad that you brought that up because not a lot of people get that a lot of people don't check that stuff. Uber checks it like once a day. Maybe they'll send you a notification of please take a photo of yourself to make sure you're still you. Then they'll also show your photo in the tablet, which is also very possible. But even still, like, not a lot of people actually look at the tablets when they're delivering to make sure the people are them. Just Say Die echoed a similar sentiment, writing, they acting dense in the replies, but every time I ordered on Uber Eats and Doordash, the profile would say woman, and then a man would show up in a completely different car. Not only is it dangerous, but it's illegal. First off, they're sending auto replies. Like, this is AI chatbots and auto replies for people that nobody likes. That's just reality. Food delivery companies background check loophole. In recent years, Uber has faced numerous lawsuits related to SA allegations involving drivers as well as challenges to its vetting processes. According to one such lawsuit, victims of assault claimed Uber had failed to properly screen its drivers, making it difficult for the company to prevent dangerous individuals from working for the platform. They write, the plaintiff claims that Uber failed to implement adequate safety measures, including proper vetting and monitoring of its drivers, thereby creating a dangerous environment for passengers. First off, it is 1,000 times more dangerous for the driver. You're in a car with a random stranger for maybe 20 minutes for a drive. He's in a car with multiple strangers throughout the course of his day, almost every day. You can hop the fuck off of that. Second, doing a background check on every driver is more than sufficient, and every driver, if they are substituted properly according to their website, they do have to pass certain checks on their side, so let's not do that at all. Also, if we're talking about the drivers themselves, like Uber Eats drivers, the ones that are actually allowed to substitute, the only real danger for the customer is if they don't have a contactless delivery system. If they're meet at door, you're risking meeting a stranger regardless. You think a woman is not just as capable of shady things than a man is? Like, really? A BBC article from 2024 highlighted that some delivery platforms, including Uber Eats and Deliveroo, have been under pressure from government authorities to better regulate their systems. These include changes aimed at preventing unverified drivers from stepping in as substitutes. According to the BBC, there are increasing calls for stricter checks on who is allowed to operate as a delivery driver and under what circumstances. Additionally, a report by The Grocer detailed how much pressure from the Home Office has forced platforms to adapt their systems to ensure that substitute riders are properly vetted. While Uber Eats and other platforms have made attempts to address these issues, critics argue that not enough is being done to prevent unsafe practices from slipping through the cracks. I mean, what exactly are you expecting from Uber Eats here? Like, again, we're independent contractors. This is a platform where people go to work. You don't hear about these issues with TaskRabbit or with any of these other platforms, but when it's DoorDash and Uber Eats, these mega mondo companies, they're the ones with the loud issues on the subject because everyone wants to make a stink about the big platforms. couriers. An email statement to the Daily Dot, an Uber Eats spokesperson said, as independent contractors, couriers who use the Uber Eats app are permitted by law to appoint a substitute to carry out deliveries on their behalf, providing they meet the same criteria as account holders. All couriers who use the Uber Eats app, whether it is an account holder or their substitute, must undergo checks to make sure they are over 18 and have the legal right to work in the UK, said a spokesperson. We require couriers to register their substitutes so that we can verify their right to work. Account holders using substitutes who do not have the legal right to work in the UK will permanently lose their account. If a courier has been flagged for any breach in our community guidelines, including unlawful or unsafe behavior, we investigate and take the appropriate action on the account, including permanently removing access to the app. We are constantly reviewing and improving existing processes to ensure they are as robust as possible. Okay, first off, I'm glad that they noted it's the UK and not like London, Kentucky or something. Second, it's funny how people are very loud in the UK about this, specifically in the UK. Like, they already have a problem with tipping in America, and yet they're still using courier platforms. And now they're even the louder ones when it comes to how we do things. Like, really? This is exactly why the focus should be on their own country and stop focusing on ours. Social media responds. Responses to Matt's post varied, many expressing their concerns about Uber's safety measures, while others are expressing it shouldn't matter who delivers the food so long as it gets delivered. I do not appreciate it when someone other than the listed driver arrives to my home. It happens fairly often in Texas, sometimes with a different driver and vehicle. Sketchy AF. I don't think I've ever had a delivery driver match the picture in Minneapolis. This is a major problem that Uber does not want to fix because of how much money they make with extremely low-paying orders that they take. Okay, first off, claiming that the person never matched ever is a wild exaggeration, number one. Or number two, you don't order on Uber Eats enough to make an opinion on it. Especially coming from someone named Smart Rideshare, I sincerely doubt you do. Everyone's saying it doesn't matter. Let me ask you this. If it was an Uber ride and the driver pulls up, is not the driver on the app, you're getting in, right? According to your logic, it shouldn't matter, right? That's not the same thing at all. So getting in a car with a random stranger is not the same thing as someone putting a bag at your front door. Like, let's acknowledge that right off the bat. It does matter, but your analogy is just wild. This happens to me all the time, and from Doordash, Instacart, and drivers from Uber, and none of them care. It's a safety issue. I don't want somebody that's not vetted coming to my home or picking me up anywhere. And they just don't care. They do care. They are getting rid of those people. They're just popping up and getting around the system just as fast as that's happening. That may be true, but there's a simple way for them to fix that. Add a feature to the app that when the driver approaches, a pop-up notice that asks the user to validate the person delivering it to them. Is the person shown with a simple prompt, yes or no? If they say yes, delivery is complete without an issue. If they say no, the money is refunded, the order is canceled, and the driver is suspended from the app for not complying with the driver agreement. Not hard. That is what an ethical company would do. That is a wild take, and no, it wouldn't be. There is so much fraud that happens on the customer side. I guarantee you they will lose thousands of dollars. Drivers would lose their gigs all over the place. That is a horrendous take. That is just horrendous. I get what you're going for in terms of like verifying the driver through the customer side, but holy crap, that is just a horrendous take. Refunding, they will just lose money. 100% of the time. An Uber support driver tried to run me over 2 years ago, going through a red light, and tried to run me down when he gestured he'd gone through the red light. Uber wouldn't even take the details of the incident until I signed up to Uber and added payment details to the account. Wait. How do you know it was an Uber driver that tried to run you over after going through a red light? Like, that just sounds made up. Like, I would think as an Uber support agent that you're making that crap up. Wow, so they don't even know if the people reliving their food have a license, previous traffic offenses, DUIs, or violent criminal history or anything. Pretty crazy for someone who is the face of the company to be to their customers. They literally just said they do all the checks for everybody. everybody if it's going through the system properly. The problem is that if there is fraud taking place, they need to acknowledge that. If the person is going through the system properly, which seems like this is the case, then yeah, it absolutely is fine. Like, I feel like this is the one person that was put on the platform properly through a substitute driver, and that's why they got the response they got. Like, really? In my opinion, it's worth what you pay for it. None of you pay me. There you go. I have a couple of points that I would want to make on this. Number one, this guy who is doing the deliveries for this woman is an idiot. Not because he's substituting for his girlfriend or whatever. I don't know what their relationship is. But why aren't you doing that for yourself? Like, why are you not setting up your own Uber Eats account? Like, what's going on there? I feel like that would be my main thing. Like, it's okay that you're doing Uber Eats for yourself. Don't get me wrong. Why are you working with her instead of having your own account? That's my only thing. That's my only critique to that guy. It seems like the way that Uber is defending this driver couple here, that it's actually valid. He is a legitimate substitute for Uber. Now, I know that there's a lot of account renting that shouldn't be happening on the platform, but why are you guys getting all uppity because somebody did it the right way? Again, I don't know if it's valid the way things took place. I feel like they had to have at least done a check of some sort and validated that. But still, I think everyone putting Matt down for being overreactive, wasteful, incel, blah, 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 I think that was way over the top. I don't think you should be on his crap for that. But also, I find it interesting that it's definitely there. Like, some of the comments definitely acknowledge that it shouldn't matter, but none of them were brought up in this article. Like, why are we only having one side to the conversation acknowledged here? Let's say she is substituting her Uber Eats account, and maybe she's getting a cut of every order. That's also possible. Or maybe she's renting out the account, or there's something else that is not being mentioned. As long as they're going through the system properly, which it seems like by the way this person is defended, that's exactly how it went down, and that is why it is being defended the way it is. And there's no mention of this driver being deactivated of any kind. Why is that an issue? Now, I don't know how long this is going to last. Like, it is very possible that they just end up canceling this system entirely, and now she has to do her own deliveries in order to make money on Uber, which is also fine because if she's smart, she's also diversifying her gig portfolio and looking for other opportunities to earn, such as an exit strategy, because the gig economy is an income bridge to what would be a long-term goal and not simply the goal. So as long as she's actually doing that, all of this makes sense as long as it's all legitimate as well. And by the way, if you also want to learn how to develop something for yourself and to diversify your gig portfolio, one of the best places you could accomplish that is through the Driven Wyld Discord server. The Driven Wyld Discord community is exclusive for gig workers looking to expand their knowledge and expertise in their self-employment and entrepreneurial journeys. I've partnered with high-level professionals to bring you some of the most exclusive benefits based on your personal needs as a gig worker, exclusive professional opportunities and gig postings, more live streams with high-level professionals in our industry, educational systems to help you build your own dispatch company, as well as other scalable opportunities. By the way, speaking of that educational systems, we have kicked off our Build Your Own Delivery Service Provider course, and we are changing the game and transforming how businesses serve customers and how gig workers get more opportunities. So whether you're a gig worker looking for more opportunities to earn, or an exit strategy because the gig economy is an income bridge to what would be a long-term goal and not simply the goal, and you would like to see something with more growth potential and scalability, there is something here for you. Check the link in the description and get started with making the most amount of money in the least amount of time and in the safest possible way. We are excited and looking forward to helping you secure your financial future. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. As always, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time.